5, 4, 3, 2.
This is Londonomics, a podcast questioning status quo of life.
Hello.
Hi, Shubham. How are you?
What's up, man? I'm good. How are you?
Got your tea, guys?
I'm done with my tea, man. I finished my tea.
Did you finish your chai?
Chai. I was having green tea, though, not
Yeah.
chai. I had chai in the
Okay.
evening. Wait, chai? It's not chai tea, man. It's just chai. Chai means tea.
Okay.
Right.
How do you guys record on FaceTime?
The
So
connection seems a bit awful. Is it my end or is it your end?
so the connection, I think it's well, my connection is pretty good by default. Like, we have really good internet here. So
Yeah, same me as well.
yeah, so it should be Shabam's end.
Possibly, man. It's Nepal, bro. What do you expect?
Oh, you're in Nepal. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it's an overstatement that I have Wi-Fi over here. So anything above that is just like, I'm sorry, it's not gonna work out.
That's
Well-
okay.
We make the best of what we have.
That is true. That's very true.
So
Wait, what are we
guys,
talking about?
yeah, what are we talking about, Shabam? We're talking about you and your work ethic.
Well, if
I'll be talking about that. Let me know when you start recording, right? Because
Oh, she's
I don't-
recording right now.
Yeah.
oh, she's recording right now. Okay, you won't edit it?
We'll see.
No,
Usually
no
no.
editing,
We usually
Shabam.
don't.
Oh, cool. Oh shit, man. You should
Yeah.
have told me that before. Am I allowed to swear?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
allowed to
It's
swear.
gonna-
Yeah,
it's gonna go
we're
easy.
being really honest and
Cool.
transparent. So you're allowed.
So what
to
do
swear.
you want to know about my work ethic?
Yeah, so we were planning to talk about procrastination and motivation related to creative work, and
Yeah.
well, Misha. I mean, the thing is, Misha does like accounting and did I say it right this time?
Just accounting.
Finance.
Yeah.
No,
So
just
Money, man.
So Misha's work is considered not to be creative, but to be honest, I think all work is.
Well, it is creative in
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Look, I think all work is creative. Like, especially if you're
Yeah.
in it to the depths, as in Misha is in his work. So I think we can all sort of begin on the same page, and I don't know, maybe we can even approach from this sort of situation that we're in, which is the lockdown, and like basically, I know that Shaban, you've written basically like tons of songs since it's lockdown. So how is that possible? Because for me, it's been the opposite.
So I think like most people actually think of creativity as something that creativity or inspiration as something that would just come out of the blue, right? Like you're sitting, you're watching TV, and then right, bang, it hits you, right? And that's when you write a song, or that's when you make art, or that's when you work. But the thing is, I think creativity is also influenced by discipline and figuring stuff out. So, for example, if I'm sitting in my DAW, I'm making a song right now, I'm using different samples and stuff. Maybe I hear one sample and that sparks my creativity for a new song. And if I wouldn't be going through my samples, if I wouldn't be going through my DAW, that idea would never have hit me.
Yeah.
So it's more important to possibly be disciplined about putting in the hours and doing the work every day in order to be creative. Like creativity is a byproduct of discipline, is all that I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not disregarding the aha moment or the eureka moment. Oh shit, this idea is a banger or whatever. Yeah, that's that. But still, like that might come like once in a month or once in 2 months. You can't sit idle for the next 29 days, right, doing nothing and just saying I'm waiting for creativity to strike because
Yeah.
it may never strike again.
Yeah. And I mean, I think.
Shabam.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, go on, Sheila.
So like I think because with creative work, yeah, like it's there's this idea of like having to make something that's really good, so like, and I find that it's been really helpful for me to realize that a lot of times when you're doing creative work, the outcome might be shit and you might not do anything with it. Like, you might write 10 songs, all of them are horrible, or you think that they're horrible and you don't want to release them, you don't want to work on them anymore. But because you've done those 10 songs, the 11th one will be really good because you've had the experience of, producing those 10 ones.
Yeah, definitely, because you've put in the hours for those 10 songs, so you know what works, what does not work, more than what you would have known before you worked on those 10 songs, right?
Yeah.
But then another question rises that who decides what's good? Because what may be good for you may not be good for someone else. And what may be good for someone else may not be good for you. Like, even if it's your art, right? Like, I released a song back in October. And I thought it was great at that time. But then over time, I started finding that it's not banging and it's not going too well and stuff. And then I took it out. I
To
took
be
the song
honest,
out after releasing it.
Yeah, just a note, just so Misha knows, that's actually an awesome song. Like, I think that's actually really
See,
good.
there you go. So see, she thinks that it's amazing, and I think that it didn't come out as well as it could come out. It could come out as. What am I saying? Yeah. So you find it to be good. I don't find it to be good, and maybe 1 year from now, I may find it to be good again.
Yeah.
Here's a question.
Right?
What if it's actually more of not the case that people think it's good at that particular time, but it's just part of a creative process, because we know that a lot of the songs use song licenses from 50 years ago and actually make songs that are much more popular today. I don't mean towards those songs that it was a creative process that took 50 years in making, but I mean as a songwriter, it's just a process. So at some point you might think it's not good enough, right? Because you're very dedicated to your song. But then after a month, after a year, you might actually pick it up again with a fresh new perspective and be like, oh, actually, it's pretty good work. What do you think?
Man, like in the years that I've been making music, I've understood one thing, that you're never satisfied. It's never good enough. You're always watching for more, because I just read this right now. I was going through Instagram and I just read this in the comments section that art is never finished. It's just abandoned. Right? So there's always scope for improvement. You just need to, after you've spent hundreds of hours on that, there's one moment that you just need to say, like, I'm done. This is it. No more improvements, nothing there, because it's endless, man. You can make it as good as you want to be, and it'll just keep on going uphill, and you won't ever stop.
A really weird thing that I've noticed is that, when I produce a song or I start recording a song, and so basically what happened was, like, right, I had an idea for a song and I started recording it, and then I forgot that I did that. So at a different point, I went back to my computer and I started recording it again, but then both times it didn't really work out that well. And then the second time I was looking at my other recordings, and then I actually realized that, oh shit, I've done this song once before. And the two recordings are really different. Like the melody line is different, even though it sort of follows the same idea, but it's just done differently. It's in a different key. The instrumentation is a bit, different. And I just found it so interesting how my brain would work that way, that, even though I'm not really in an intense recording session, I let it develop, like, at the back of my mind for a few weeks, and then it's just so different the second time that I do it. So I think, like, with the never finishing work sort of thing, I mean, it's how did I want to relate these two things, right? Like, oh god, no, there was like a point where I found it connected, but it was like, yeah, so it's basically for me the process of making something, like when you're in that zone, it becomes something because at that moment you're in a certain mental state. So if you do it, if you redo it, like, so for me, I feel like sometimes songs that I've done before, I can't really look at them as like I'm gonna go back and start producing or finish producing them, but I have to go and this recording is not good enough. I'm gonna do the whole thing again, because I can't really, like, I had that 24-hour window when I went into the studio. I started working and I was just in the zone, like, so deep that, like, I finished the whole thing because I had like a time frame or something, and then I can't touch it again the same way.
because it's all about the vibe, dude. It's all about what you're feeling at that very moment. Like that's heavily influential, you know. Like whatever, if you're making the same song today and you make the same song at 3 a.m. At night, it'll be mildly different because you won't be feeling, or like if you're recording vocals, right? Vocals are more than technicalities. It's about the feeling and it's about the vibe that you're feeling and the way you're singing, right? So it's not necessary that you feel the same way at 3 a.m. that you do at 9 a.m. when you just woke up. And the whole vibe of the song will be different because of just those 6 hours.
Yeah.
Difference in those 6 hours.
What
And same
about-
goes with producing, right? Because you put in instruments that you're feeling at that time, and that will change the output of the song. Because at 9 a.m. you want everything fresh and you want technical stuff and you've just woken up. So you're putting all happy stuff. But at 3 a.m. you're questioning life. You have an existential crisis. And you're putting in sevens and nines and sad chords and mellow synths and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah. Though sometimes like ideally if I would be working, I'd have a concept for the song in the first place and know that this is the kind of chords that I want to put in before I start doing it. But I agree with what you're saying, yeah, at the same time. And what about Misha? What's your take on this?
I actually wanted to ask a question. I was curious because let's say, you're really worried, as Shubham said, a song can never be finished. So you're quite worried that you might not have the same magic Shubham touch on the next song, right? So you begin procrastinating. How should you go about procrastinating?
Man.
Because you know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
You can't get there. It's in your head, but you can't put it on the piece of paper.
Like
what do you do?
So I'll talk like about from like personal experience, right? So throughout the lockdown period, during the first 4 months, it was all fresh. It was all new lockdown and stuff, and I wanted to write songs. So I wrote like 30, 40 songs in the, not 30, 40, like 20, 30 songs in the first 4 months, right? And crazy songs, I wrote that. And as the months started progressing, my creative energy started dropping in level. And then because I was in the same environment all day long. I was doing the same shit every day, right? Waking up, going out in the balcony, eating the same food with the same people, not even stepping out of the house, right? So, have you ever heard of the saying that a habit or repetition is the death of creativity, or something like that?
Or is it? Because from the research that I've read, right, scientific research, they said that actually creativity is caused by the known shower principle.
What?
Sheila and I have explored this principle quite in depth in our podcast. But so shower principle is essentially the idea when you're doing something boring, your mind stimulates the part of the area of the brain where your creativity. You're shaking your head. You're like, nah. This can't be happening.
No, man, no.
He's doing that because he's Indian.
Yeah.
But, no.
No,
you know what? Shubham is like the most. He's like the most confusing friend that I have because of this habit. But you know that actually that's supposed to mean yes, apparently.
Yeah, that's supposed to be like I'm agreeing. What do you say?
But okay, so right. So you know when you go, I don't know, like go iron some shirts, right? You'll probably start thinking and about stuff, maybe music, whatever's happening. You get in that sort of mindset that Chile is talking about. That focus. But how do you get into it? Like, well, research had shown that you get into it by doing something boring. So the question is, in order to get in that productive state, you have to do something boring. Not all the time, just enough to be able to get into that creative vibe. What do you think?
Possibly, man. Possibly, because I read this article that stated that your creative output is at the highest when you're especially tired. So when you're tired, your brain releases hormones that spark creativity. So that is why so many musicians and artists like working at midnight and after everyone's asleep, because they've already woken up for like 8 hours or 10 hours, and that's when they write a banger. Not right after waking up, not at 8 a.m. in the morning. Have you ever heard someone say that I wrote the song at 8 a.m. in the morning? As soon as I woke up, I had a glass of coffee and I wrote the song, and now it's a hit.
Wow. Okay. No.
But here's the question, right? Here's the question. Is it the same with alcohol? Because when you're tired, you probably stop overthinking. This is how I speculate. And when you are drinking alcohol, you stop overthinking as well, right? Or any other substance which relaxes you. So do you think it's just the same formula? So like getting into relaxation,
alcohol reduces your inhibitions, right? It does not get you tired, or it does not get you see, it gets you fearless, right? Because it reduces your inhibitions.
Yeah, but yeah, I think like it also reduces your ability to control what you're doing, and like for me to imagine if I have had a few drinks and then I'm trying to record a song, it's just the worst idea, because like you override mistakes that you otherwise wouldn't. Like imagine you record something,
but maybe that turns into an even better song, because you're not thinking too hard to write a hit. You're just doing whatever comes in mind because you've reduced all your inhibitions, right?
Okay, it depends if we're talking about writing or production. But to be honest,
oh yeah, so you can't do technical stuff after having alcohol, of course. You can't imagine to solve like a math equation after getting sloshed, but you can write a song, and you can just play the guitar and hum melodies, right? Because that's all creative. That's not technical.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's this right part of the brain and left part of the brain thingy. That one part is the creative part and one part is the technical part or whatever. So it does not go hand in hand, like, so that's what, like, you must have seen this so many times that they tell you to separate creative ideas and technical ideas. So either focus on technical stuff at once or creative stuff at once. Because if you're doing both of those at the same time, you mess it up.
Shubham, so let's look into some like science, right? So let's see if science agrees with you. So I sent Sheila an article from Psychology Today. Sheila, can you pull that up on the screen so our viewers can see?
Oh, you're going to release the video version as well?
Yeah, because that's why we're not recording audio. We're actually that's why it's like a bit new for us, but also quite exciting, and we feel also much better because
of course,
we're utilizing the space-time aspect, right? So the headline is alcohol benefits the creative process, right? So, and the key takeaway of the scientific study that has been conducted is being being moderately intoxicated gets people to think outside the box. So in that case, and I'd like to quote, if I can find it in time, I believe it's 0.8% of intoxication. So this is gonna be, I'm quoting out, right? So some people who serve a vodka cranberry drink until their blood alcohol level was approximately 0.075. And this has been found to be approximately the optimal level depending on the body type, and that has been shown to increase problem solving and creative process. So do you think
this whatever you're saying right now, right, it just sparked a business idea in me to start like a drink specific for creative artists with this amount of alcohol so that they can have one drink of that and then start working.
Right.
Not bad, man, not bad, right?
I presume that's how espresso martini was invented.
Yeah? Nice. So maybe we need to spread this information more to people. Like, get freaking drunk, 0.75, and write a song. Because then that'll be more of a hit.
Well, to be fair, I've been wondering for a while, how are students, drinking all day and are able to do really well at university? Like, what is that?
Or do you think they work well at university?
Well, fair enough. Yeah.
But do you think they work well at university, or they just survive university?
Well, that's a tough question. Good question. It depends really on the person. What I would say is that it has been found that our generation, right, people born after 1995 have been drinking less than any other previous generation.
What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
No way, man. No way.
Yeah.
yeah. We've talked about this
Maybe
before.
because we've not lived enough years.
Well,
Or are you talking about the ratio?
I'm talking about like,
Obviously.
age. So obviously, like they had more time to live than our
Yeah.
generation. But
Of course.
that's our age, right? Let's say the drinking age. I think they measured 18 to 25.
Right.
Our generation had drank like overall through that age less than
Yeah.
or expected because some
Yeah,
have
of
reached
course,
age,
of course.
25, so it's expected they'll be drinking less. And it's also shown in the alcohol sales that alcohol sales had been.
Why would that be though? Like, what could the reason possibly be behind this?
Yeah, well, so there was a previous podcast when I answered this question with the idea that because basically our generation has more options to get high on things that are not substance based. Like you can just go home and watch
Like
Netflix and you can get like emotional impact on you from just being on your phone or being on your laptop or whatever. And I think a lot of parts of your life is now based on what you do in front of screens instead of what you do in real life. So basically, I think.
So are you
this could be-
suggesting that
Yeah.
like the older generation used to drink to drown in their regrets and forget
Bro,
anything that was happening
I
throughout
wasn't
the world?
even
or-
suggesting that you watch
we
Netflix
are the happiest
to drown
generation.
your regrets. Like, yeah, go on.
I wanted to say, supporting Shabam's argument, we are the happiest generation, though, and it has been shown that the more depressed a person becomes, the more they drink. So, Shabam in this case would be correct, but there are other supporting factors as well to it. I would actually argue the happiness level when it comes to work has been on the rise in high-income countries like UK and many similar others. And I think that also kind of helps. And also I think that...
I think, man, like, being happy about your work is partly because in today's generation, right, you're just a click away from knowing a new field or figuring out how a new field works. Now, 30 years ago, when you didn't have the internet or you didn't have the resources, right, even if you wanted to do music, you wouldn't know how music works, how the music business works, how you could get into music unless you had someone you know from the industry whom you could go to, a mentor. But today, you're just a click away. You just search online, how do you make music, and you get how you make music, and you can just get in that field right away and figure out if that works for you or not. It's all about resources and exploring different fields and figuring out what works for you, which has been it's the easiest thing that's ever happened right now. Just Google it.
So you think it's about productiveness and sort of like being happy?
Not about productiveness, man. Not about productiveness, because productiveness is different.
What I'm trying to say is that people are doing their favorite thing, right? That's what makes them happy. Let's say somebody wants to do music
instead of just working for the heck of working, the heck of making a living, or the heck of surviving. People are working because they're passionate about that particular field. They're not taking it as a 9 to 5, but something that they actually want to do. I'm not saying that there aren't people who still have jobs like that, who still want to do something else and they're doing 9 to 5. But the ratio of people who actually pursue their passion or something that they like must be possibly more than what it was like 45 years ago. I may be wrong.
I get what you mean, but like, let me give you like the antithesis on this, because like, you know that I do a lot of creative work, but recently I got a job and I was working at a petrol station for the longest time, and basically the petrol station job keeps me happier and it keeps me more mentally healthy because it's constrained into those hours when I'm there, and when it finishes I finish and I get home and I spend time with people I like, and I chill out, I relax, while when I'm doing my own work, whether it's my business or whether it's my music or whether it's anything
Yeah,
that's like
you're just
university,
providing
it
more
never
evidence to
stops.
my point.
So I will
Yeah,
wake up, and before I get out of bed, I will start reading something, or before I go
yeah,
to bed, I will be on my laptop and like setting up a website because I'm just so excited about it, and I think that's really unhealthy in a way, and at the
unhealthy
same
or
time
healthy.
it's unhealthy. Like, it's unhealthy because I can't switch it off.
Switch what off? Could you be
Like,
more specific, please?
I can't switch the sort of thinking off,
The genius. She can't switch the genius off.
yeah, so like I can't stop doing it and relax.
Yeah.
Like these days I will be out in the living room on my laptop doing something for university or for my work, and I will be only like 50% listening to what's going on with the community within the house, while when I wasn't doing my own work and I was only working at the petrol station, this wouldn't happen because I would be out there and happy to talk to other people and just listen to them and interact.
Yeah. So yeah, like that's a more of a that's like a corroboration to my point. Exactly what I'm saying, that the fact that you worked in a petrol station and you're doing creative work, now you know petrol station work makes you happier than spending all your time creativity, or doing it 50-50 makes you happier than doing that. I'm not saying that it's only creative artwork that's passion that makes people happy, or that people are passionate about. Misha, I'm probably sure, would be passionate about accounting, right? And that would be his job, and that's what makes him
I was
happy.
like, so hard to believe.
Why are you
Right?
not
There's so
passionate
many-
about? Are you not passionate about accounting?
I am, but it's like a joke that, for example, when you're writing on the computer, depreciation, the computer automatically autocorrects it to depression.
Okay.
Right. So yeah. Now, see,
But,
Chilla,
but,
you.
but here's a question. Here's like a speculative question. So, because we are working so much, maybe doing the things we love, are we starting to move from alcoholism to workaholism? Like, becoming workaholics, just sort of like always doing work, uni, maybe we're growing, but we're always doing work.
Of course, man. Of course, because you've got shitloads to keep up to.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
of social media, you just see the bright side of people, right? You don't see the dark side of people on social media. So you think
yeah.
now, right? Millennials or Gen Z think that materialism is the best way forward until they grow old. Like, if you have a Ferrari, you're happy. If you have a yacht, I need to get a yacht. I need to work hard to get a yacht. How do I work hard? I put in the hours. I find a job. I earn money. I put into stocks. I see this guy putting it into stocks, and this guy's a millionaire, although he's just 20. Why am I not a millionaire? So I need to work harder. This guy's putting in more hours than me.
Right.
Stuff like that. Because you've got so much to keep up to, man.
This is actually very interesting because I'm not sure if you guys been keeping up, but due to lockdown, the amount of fake gurus has increased exponentially. And I want to say one of the other factors, which is actually the biggest cause, I'd say, of decrease of alcohol, is because alcohol increases dopamine levels, right? But what else does increase dopamine levels? Instagram, social media, right? Seeing other people, seeing only their feel good vibes and all their successes, or
whatever. Okay, I just got this thing in my mind. Okay, like, you said that we're moving from alcoholism to workaholism, right? So alcoholism that happened like 40 years ago, 35 years ago, whatever that was, must be because of an escape from work, right? Escape from work or escape from reality. People went and drank alcohol and stuff like that. Now we're into workaholism, where alcoholism is less. But now, because of workaholism, people are even more depressed because they have to keep up with the society. Do you think that will that again lead to alcoholism in order to forget reality and get out of that zone?
Well, people went to alcohol because they were able to get dopamine from there, right? So dopamine is quite important because dopamine is a reward mechanism, right? That's by our survival instincts. And what science has found, right, is that Instagram users were more reliant on Instagram to get that dopamine than any other than any other source of dopamine. that could be exercise, that could be.
Yeah, that makes so much sense because like 40 years ago when social media or when the virtual world wasn't there, people relied on alcohol to escape reality, and now we rely on virtual stuff to escape reality. And 20 years from now, once we get into the virtual VR, AR world, there won't be any reality, right? So that'll be like a complete escape. It's more about escapism than alcoholism or workaholism. That's just more like a subproduct of escapism, you know? If you get what I mean. Like, people don't want to accept what's happening around them, so they look for avoidance strategies or coping mechanisms.
Oh,
So
guys,
when
this
social
just
media
this
wasn't
just
there,
turned into like the most depressing conversation ever. Like, like just this morning, I was having a discussion with somebody else, and I was just explaining how much I dislike VR and everything that's related to this, and that's basically like not real. And then we sort of made the point that yeah, but it's sort of where we're headed, right? Like it's everything is going in this direction.
see, the thing about humans is that we know we're doomed. We know the path that we're on is doomed. Regardless of knowing what the end is, we still want to walk on that path. We don't want to change our. We know that global like climate change is real. We know that 50 years from now things will be fucked, and still we're not doing anything about it.
You're really
Nobody
tempting me.
cares.
You're really tempting me to get a vodka orange right now. Like honestly,
Right? See,
like
nobody cares. Nobody cares, dude. Like you saw it right there in front of you during the Trump administration when Donald Trump signed out of the Paris Agreement, right? And he's saying climate change isn't real, and that is just a way of escapism, right? Because he's simply denying a fact. That's just like me saying that the sun doesn't rise on the east. You know?
yeah.
Right.
Like,
Right. Here's the question. What is exactly the doom of an end that humans are going towards? I'm just curious to find out about that part of your idea and thought.
oh man, my thought is too depressing. I'm not gonna. I say that whenever this topic comes up, I say that this is the last century, man.
Well, why?
Like our generation is the last generation that's gonna live.
Let's say in 2012, people said, okay, end of Mayan calendar, right?
Mm-hmm.
The world's gonna end. That was a
Yeah.
movie, where the directors and stars imagined that the world's gonna collapse, everything was gonna flood.
Yeah.
Like it was in the Bible, the big flood. But nothing happened, right? So, what is like the doom? Like, why we're the last generation?
So the doom is when we forget who we really are.
So
When we forget when we forget what makes us human. You know, when we're so consumed by otherworldly stuff and virtual stuff or something else that when we escape reality as a whole is our doom. It's not a nuclear apocalypse. It's not climate change. It's not an asteroid that's going to hit world. Because even if that happens, 1 second and you're out. You won't think about it ever again because you're dead. Right? If that happens.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you're living and you're not living, that's the doom.
I agree with you on such a level that I can't even explain. Like I couldn't have said it better.
Right,
Like,
because if I kill you right now, if you die or if I die, I'm dead. I'm not thinking about it anymore. I don't know anything. I'm out of this world. I'm out of the thinking process. But if I'm alive and I'm dead inside. I'm thinking about it every moment, and I know what's happening every moment.
Here's the question, right? So, are you guys familiar with the Schrodinger's experiment?
which one?
Sorry?
With the Schrodinger's experiment. The Schrodinger's
I'm sorry, I
experiment.
don't. Can you just
Schroeder was a famous scientist, right? Who conducted an experiment on a cat. So he put a cat in a box with a poison, right? And then closed the box.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the question was, is the cat dead or alive?
Yeah.
Well,
So he was basically a cruel person who should have actually been sued by PETA or something.
No. What the idea was is that until you open the box, you won't find out whether the cat is dead or alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he called that state, right, a dual state. So it's a state where the cat is alive So and that's why I think you're saying is that you are kind of dead and alive at the
Yeah,
same time.
so in this case, we are the person. What was the guy's name? Schroeder, right? Schroeder.
Schrödinger.
So we are basic. Oh, Schrodinger's cat. Oh,
Yeah.
that thing. All right. So we are basically the cat and Schrodinger. Like we put ourselves as cats beside poison and closed our own box, and we're just hovering inside. We're like, I know there's poison beside. I know I don't have air, but still, I put myself into this situation, and I'm not gonna do shit about it because I'm human and I'm fucking stupid.
That's
Do you
right.
think?
Humans are
Do
stupid
you
as
think
fuck.
this is a? Do you think this comes from an actual need for self-destruction, or is it just escapism?
Oh, so humans, as I read this in this book *Sapiens*, right? The *Sapiens: History of Mankind*,
Yeah.
right? So I read in that humans are basically the most, in my opinion, humans are the most intelligent and the most stupid creatures that could have ever lived on this planet, right? But that's just like a statement. Let that slide. Let that go away. Now coming back to *Sapiens*, right? Everywhere that a human being has stepped in this world has has created havoc and wrecked everything that's around that person. So New Zealand, right? New Zealand and Australia. So humans hadn't stepped in New Zealand until 1400s. And as soon as we stepped in New Zealand, 50% of flora and fauna of New Zealand was wiped out in 2 or 3 centuries. Same thing with Australia. Like, as soon as we stepped over there, 30-40% of flora and fauna of Australia was wiped out.
Right, but here's the question: how much of that was due to the climate change? Because
Nothing was there due to climate change. Everything was there because of human intervention.
But
climate,
so we know. Okay, so we know that climate change, global warming, is not actually due to humans. It's actually due to the natural sort of patterns of our world, right? So how we had ice age, so it goes cold, warm, right? That's up thing, and the climate change. So we know that, for example, Turkey and Egypt, were much more tropical than the other, right? So we kind of see that the climate, even in terms of, I'd say country-wise, just completely changes. The more north you go, the better environment there is to live. Or saying,
I'm not sure what article you read, but partly you're right and partly you're wrong in my opinion, because you're saying that climate change is because of a rise or fall in global temperatures and stuff, right? How does that happen? Now, a rise or fall in global temperature happens because of something that's affecting it, right? Once during the age of dinosaurs, when the asteroid struck Earth, the rise in temperature happened. Rising and falling of temperature happened because of either because there were so many volcanic eruptions that there was so much heat, and otherwise because there was the cloud that blocked sunlight and it was freezing cold weather, right? And today it's happening because of the acts of humans, like burning of fossil fuels, burning of carbon monoxide, and using like all of these different resources and burning them up. That's causing climate change, right? That's causing global warming.
So I've just sent Sheila a diagram, right, which shows over the past like 500 plus something million years. And I don't know if Sheila can send it to you, but Sheila, can you put it on the screen?
Yeah.
I can't see the screen either way, man. If you can just WhatsApp it to me. Because I can't see the screen.
It's the Maslow's pyramid. Do you know the Maslow's pyramid?
Oh yeah, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
No. It's the one after I sent.
Oh, did you send something else? Oh, it just arrived. Fine.
The diagram.
Oh, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs is
Bro,
the
I can't
best.
I can't put this on full screen.
Can you just WhatsApp it to me? I'll just see it right now.
Yeah.
Just put it in like a small.
Just
Anyway,
oh god.
And here we were talking about procrastination and order, and now we're into
Oh,
the
don't. This is
future
how
of
all of our podcasts go. Like
human.
this
Yeah.
is the normal,
Okay,
normal,
That's
right,
the cool thing
so
about
let's finish.
conversations, right?
normal
let's
way of.
It's
our about the Maslow's hierarchy, right? So we were talking about needs and then human states and so forth, right? So we know that there are different needs, and what you're talking about is a constant need to be concerned with something, right? So
wait, are you talking about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's not like a that's how are you explaining it?
So what I wanted to say is that throughout the human evolution, right, the humans have added another layer to it until in our time, modern humanity, we have gotten to self-fulfillment needs, right? That is known as self-actualization, right? Achieving full potential and creating creative activities, right? That's where we're at.
Where some of us at, if I may correct you, not everyone.
Sorry.
Right.
Where some of us are at, and even like where a few percentage of the people are at, that's the self-actualization stage. It's not the whole of humankind. That's so the Maslow's hierarchy of needs is different to every individual.
That's true. Obviously, esteem needs is where you have people looking at Instagram, trying to feel sense of accomplishment. Have you guys heard about the Instagrammers who have like millions of followers but can't sell a thing?
Oh yeah, the pseudo influencers.
Right.
Yeah.
So, don't you think this seems like so? Like it literally makes sense. Like it explains that through their esteem, right? Especially lots of girls, who went on Instagram, try to fulfill their esteem, gained a bunch of followers, try to sell something, right? Try to actually capitalize on this following, but failed because at the end of the day, all of that was just to sort of like fill their esteem in that sense.
So, like in like after 2010 or whatever, like after the boom of social media and all of those things, right? Everyone,
you have some MySpace.
Yeah, like just this whole .com era. Once people got access to internet and stuff, and once people got access to social media and stuff, I guess the rise of feeling accepted has also increased and decreased at the same time. Because when it was like 40 or 50 years ago, you only cared about the ones you actually met, because there was no way to meet people virtually, right? You were quite in the real world. If I have 10 friends, I want to feel accepted by those 10 friends, and maybe 10 friends of those 10 friends, so that turns out to 100 people, and maybe 10 people that those 100 people know, so that turns out to 1,000 people. And today it's simply endless. You want to feel accepted by everyone that has ever come across your Instagram channel or YouTube channel.
Right. So you're talking about.
So if one person out of 1,000 people comments something negative on your social media channel,
right,
you think about that one negative comment for the next 24 hours. And had that been 40 years ago, you would never even come across that one individual, because you wouldn't give two shits. You wouldn't know who that person is. That person wouldn't have had a chance to.
You have problems. Like you had, bullies. Now you have online bullies. Right?
Hey, is it possible for me to rejoin this conversation in 2 minutes? I have a call. Yeah.
Okay.
And she comes back.
Yo, can we like conclude and stuff, because I don't realize
So
yeah.
So take back, right? You were pointing out at the fact that the more connected people are, the less connected they feel. And the concept we have explored this concept previously on our.
Oh yeah, man! Like we are more connected than ever and more disconnected than ever. Right?
No. It's actually the feeling. So it's not as the fact. The fact is we're connected more than ever.
Yeah.
But the feeling is, it's like you're like no.
Oh,
Like,
no, that does not mean no, man. That's not no. That's just me understanding.
but basically, so what what many writing much literature has said is that the more connected we are, right? Facebook, whatever, the less connected we feel, right? It's one of those paradoxes.
Of course, man. Yeah, man. Like, that's just how it is.
Because what you end up doing, right, is you aren't really super connected with a few, as you mentioned, a group of friends, right? You're connected with 100 people instead of 10, but super well. So it's all about that energy that you invest in the relationship, which is actually, in itself, a great topic to, to talk about, because not only, people are working more than ever. Are you guys familiar with the culture of working in Singapore?
I'm not.
Well, essentially, are you guys all familiar with their birth rate policies? The kind of like human geography policies that Singapore has installed to increase their population. Are you guys familiar with those?
Nope.
Okay, so basically, what's happening in Singapore, even still, is that people are working so much they don't have time to start relationships, to start families. Therefore, there's an aging population, and they need a younger workforce to come in and continue working, because if everybody gets promoted, in the company you actually have this gaping hole where you can't you can't get in anybody, and it becomes harder to simply promote people. And that was a concept that Singaporean government had invented. It was known as Singaporean love boats, right? So you bought a ticket, right, one ticket as a single person to vote, and then somebody else bought a ticket, and then you would both go on a love boat, right? And
so basically government was Tinder.
So it's like a physical Tinder, right?
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
but it's like a blind date, right? So you wouldn't know. So
Yeah.
Wow. Government setting up people.
But was it randomized? Like, was it totally random?
Yeah, it was very randomized.
So China is stopping people from having children, and Singapore is setting people up. Singapore is the Cupid.
Exactly. Singapore is the Cupid. Well, I mean, after they ban chewing gums, they gotta do something positive. But anyway, the point was that the result was they had like 95% success rate.
What? Yeah, because possibly those guys haven't met anyone else throughout.
Can you imagine? Jerome, can you imagine? You're working so much. I mean, you probably can, but you're working so much. You have no time to meet other women at all.
Oh man.
Maybe that's what he does.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you don't have enough time staring in the mirror, seeing yourself. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but this actually happens, like there's so many jobs in the world that take so much of your time that you are so tired that you don't have time to do anything else. But is that life worth living? Do you just want to be a slave to the workplace, or do you want to actually live life?
Well, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, because when you're working creative, then basically you're not slave to your workplace, but you're slave to yourself, like your own.
You're a slave to yourself.
Slave to your own work and your own own idea of, or actually, I would argue, and there's a book about this, by a philosopher, I don't remember his name, but like basically you're the slave to this idea that there is no limit to where you can reach, or how much you can earn, or how successful you can be, except for the limit that you set for yourself, right? So
of course, too.
So that's but this is like a big problem, right? Because like you're basically enslaving yourself, because you're saying to yourself, I just have to work harder, I have to work harder. And if you don't do enough, then you get depressed because you're not you think you're not doing enough, you know, because you're not getting where other people are, and you keep looking at other people on the outside. So this, like, this pressure that you put on yourself, it used to not exist, or exist in a form that, you know, your 9 to 5 job would put on you, and they would go like, this is the amount of work you have to do.
But
You go
isn't
there,
that
you did your job, you finished your job, it went
you have a
well.
choice though? Don't you have a choice? You can leave all of these things today and tomorrow get a job if you feel that it's affecting
I
you.
think everybody
It's
who
about
is
the freedom, you know, it's
who
about
is
freedom.
building a career, not just in the creative industries or music, but everyone who's building a career and is a bit like woke about it and is considering their like progression and long term is basically a victim to this. Like, it's not about working in creative industries. It's about,
You know, I think like it's all about the freedom of an option that you have that defines whether you're a slave to a workplace or not. You have a If you have the resources to choose whether you want to pursue this or that, that's when you have such a level of freedom that you are making your own decisions to decide whether you wish to do this or that. Whereas some people who don't have any other option, they're actual slave to their workplace because they have to do that job in order to survive, in order to have bread and butter at the end of the night. Right?
Right. Well let's just throw it out there. So you're not exactly a slave to yourself or the workplace. You're a slave to the consumerism, right? Because what do you actually end up doing with the money, right? You actually end up spending on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Shaman is disagreeing. He's like, no, all wrong.
yeah.
Like, I say the right stuff. I'm right here. Right, consumerism, right? It's been over and over again. You know, people keep posting memes on it on Instagram, which is ironic in itself because, you know, Instagram is part of consumerism.
But what's the alternative?
Well, the alternative is, you know, simplicity, altruism, you know, so like cutting down on the unnecessary stuff. And there's a lot of unnecessary stuff. You
But
know,
that comes down to choice, right?
Well, let me ask you something. How, like, what percentage of UK, right, United Kingdom, population-wise, has iPhones as their phone of choice?
Random guess.
Sheila knows, so she can't answer.
Wait, if there are 70 people in the UK, 70, 15%?
Is that your final guess?
Yeah, 10 to 15%.
Okay. That's wrong.
What is it?
It's around 60%.
How the fuck do they have so much money, man?
Here's the question. Do you need an iPhone? Right? You don't, but you
Look,
want an iPhone.
Let me.
So you work for it, right? So, like, it's one of those examples. Like, subscription service, right? They found out that people have at least 3 subscription services at once, right? People are very elastic in terms of demand for that. So, you know, they'll get more and more. And that's like, you know, £5 a month, right? These services. Right, but that's
Guys, could we like wrap it up in 2 minutes, if that's fine?
Okay, let me say something about this then, yeah, because
I'm so
I've
sorry
been
to cut you
waiting
off.
for a second of silence. Is that, like, Misha is saying, like, we're a slave to consumerism, right?
Yeah,
and
we
I
are,
would
man,
argue
we are.
that we're because you're saying that the answer is cutting down and simplicity, but I cannot agree with that, because the way that things are marketed today means that cutting down on things that you buy is cutting down on your identity, because everything you buy, it
Then
is,
your
well,
identity
it
is
is
very
how
weak,
it
dude.
is what's
Then you're
in
materialistic,
it's that's
basically.
what's in your brain. It's I mean, that this is what is in mine, yeah. Like, I shop brands that I love, and I'm not talking about like shopping clothing brands, but like even food, or like one of my favorite brands is like Huel,
But
right?
Sheila, do you think your identity is defined by the goods that you buy or by the person that you are?
Look, the person that I am is expressed by what I wear and what I eat.
Here's
and
a question, right? Here's a question. In order to break the ice, let's take 2 creatures, right? Let's take a chimp and let's take a human, right? We give them both a laptop.
We have the chimp right here.
Right here. We both give them a laptop, right? Right. So, and we ask them, okay, is your identity do with the laptop. Because a chimp will just, use it to bang in nails, for example. But a human will use it to, I don't know, stream movies.
Buy more nails to give it to the chimp.
You're approaching the question at the wrong point, because the chimp. Yes, because the
I
chimp.
don't think Sheila did. Because
am I allowed to finish my sentence? Like, how did the chimp and the human acquire the laptop? Because the chimp just gets the laptop put into its hands and doesn't, and smashes it around, but it didn't want it. While the human.
What if it earns it? What if it goes and does, I don't know, picking of fruits and stuff, and then comes back with all the fruit, and then it got the laptop? Or even better example, imagine a 65-year-old and a 20-year-old, right? They both have laptops, both have access to computers. What do they do with that technology, right? That is the main question. Does a 65-year-old say, okay, I have a cool MacBook, right? Like a super expensive computer, and that this thing defines my identity? No. They go on walks,
I think, yeah, like, exactly. Like, the moment you think that materialism defines identity is the moment that you're actually identity-less.
But
because
that's not what I'm saying.
As soon as I
Bro,
take that Apple phone out of your hand or that Prada sunglasses out of your eyes,
okay, excuse me,
you
but
are
that's not
basically
what I'm saying.
identity-less.
I'm saying that materialism is the expression of my identity, and I'm saying that you think that your identity is not defined by it, but it's not.
So Chira, will you change?
It's not influenced, but it is. Yeah.
Okay, listen, Chira. If right now, okay, we live in a world where Misha, you and I live naked.
Where what?
Will you, we live naked. We don't have clothes. We don't have possessions.
Okay.
We live naked, right?
Sounds.
Yeah. Do you think?
Sounds good,
Do you think that your identity would change then because you don't have those possessions? Or will you be basically identity-less because you don't have those possessions?
Right? Like, you're not wearing anything, right? On a beach on a holiday, when you go swim, or when you shower, right? When you shower. Here's a question, right? Here's like a question to settle this debate.
Yeah.
So we have one side saying, okay, it defines your identity. One side it doesn't. But here's the question. Here's the point. We'll think, okay, maybe it doesn't. So it doesn't define, but it doesn't belong to identity. But what if instead of being your core identity, it's an extension of your identity, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, thank you. Yeah, like I'm not trying to say that the objects define you. I'm trying to say that you are showing to the external world what you are by using objects. And with the shower example, yeah, like, do you think we use the same shower gel? I mean, no, we don't, because there's.
No, I wanted to say that we're just naked in the shower, like.
Yeah, no, but what I'm trying to get at is like we don't use the same products in the shower because we have different ideas about the world and about ourselves, so we express even our identity, even in, like, if we
I
buy.
agree with you on this point, like. Yeah, okay, like, whatever you wear, whatever you do.
Like, I only use natural oils, no fake stuff.
Yeah, like, whatever you do, whatever you buy, whatever you wear is a part of you, but it is not you. It may be like a 10% part of you, 15% part of you, 30% part of you, but it's not.
It's not
you
part of.
really
It's just like it's just an extension. It's just how I express.
That thing. Like, it's an extension about how you express yourself. It's an extension of who you are, but it does not define who you are.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's
because
fine.
the moment you think that possessions define you, you're like Rachel's sister in Friends.
Yeah, you become Hitler.
Do you know Rachel's sister from Friends, the girl who marries this guy because he has an apartment, a penthouse? Oh, you don't know? Oh, forget that reference. Let it go.
It's
guys, can we continue this conversation some other time?
Oh yeah, of course. If you have to go, feel free. There's no pressure. And you guys are like blacking out all the time anyway. For like right now, Misha's like cutting out.
Oh, awesome, guys! It was awesome to talk to you. I had a lovely evening. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and thank you,
and
Salam.
I hope we can have like some more interesting, deviating conversations again in the near future.
Yeah, same for me, and thank you. And everyone has cut out, but like, thank you so much for.
Sorry?
Everyone is cutting out right now from on my screen, but like, yeah, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your. What's
Sheila,
that?
you cut Misha 5 times.
Bro, like I think there's something with the connection, yeah, but anyway, yeah, like thank you so much, and like I hope that we was
I'm
we
sorry, man.
hope
It's
that
so funny.
I I hope that we will talk again soon, yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, of course, dude. Thank you. Thanks, Sheila.